It's springtime. All the dump trailers, all the dump bodies are all starting to come back out of hibernation, and landscaping season is upon us. We'd love to help you out, so if that's the case, reach us at www.foothillsgroup.ca. We'll help you in Lethbridge and Calgary, Southern Alberta. If you want to take this on yourself, let's first understand how this system operates. Obviously, we need to lift up the dump body cylinder, and to do that, we need to take the hydraulic oil out of this tank. We need to put it out of a pump, and we need to send it down the line. So this is what's called a single acting cylinder. It has one line, it goes to the cylinder, causes it to lift, and gravity returns it. So the control valves on the block are really there to send the pump oil through and then open up this cylinder oil to send it back to the tank. The way these things work is like a starter. Except the difference is the motor that's here, instead of being a low duty cycle, in other words, meant to run for no more than 30 seconds on, then have 2 minutes off, these are meant to run for a longer duty cycle. Now, you do buy power packs, hydraulic packs, that have different duty cycles, 60%, 70%, 50%. And if you had a 50% duty cycle power pack, what that would mean is it's meant to run for 1 minute and then cool off for 1 minute. And what's going to change in there? You might think that doesn't matter. I can just buy the cheaper 50% and make it do an 80% work. What's going to happen is the brush contacts inside the motor are going to melt. They're going to overheat and they're going to fail the motor, and the rest of the system would be fine. The problem is getting just the motor is really hard for these packs. They're made overseas and they're usually made as a unit. So if we take a look at how this thing operates, it works like a starter motor. We have a small relay. These signal wires, one is going to be ground. We can see the ground lead right here, and we're going to get a power lead. This is coming from the control switch. When we power this, it powers the relay coil. The relay coil connects these two posts together. This is from our battery supply, and the two posts get contacted. We can see that they're nice and snug. That's important. And that's going to make the power, the 12-volt supply, go from this post to this post. When we go from this post, we come out, and the black wire is coming down into our motor terminal. We can see it's got a small red insulator. This is an insulated circuit. You have to make sure this doesn't connect to this housing or to the frame, or you're going to get a short to ground. You're going to melt the wiring down. So power's coming in. When we toggle the switch on, we energize the relay coil. The relay coil takes the 12-volt supply from this lead, sends it to this post, from this post to this terminal. From here, it goes into the motor. Now it goes in through the brushes, through the commutator bar, through the armature, out to this post right here. This is now our ground post. This cable goes all the way back to our battery negative. It is really important we have this cable clean, we have this contact clean. If we are losing voltage from a voltage drop caused by corrosion, what we're stealing is effectively wattage from our power pack. And that wattage is either going to come with flow, we're going to move slow, or eventually it's going to come with a limitation that we can't build the pressure because it'll trip out on a breaker. And so we see that we need the contacts to be clean for the ground. These guys here, if you look at these wiring and you're wondering what these are for, we have a coil. This coil is able to go two positions, and the position is either going to be to operate or to send back to tank. Now, if we take a look at the side of this system, I want to show you something I really shouldn't teach you about, but I'm going to show you anyway. Underneath this cap should be your relief valve. If you're going to mess around with the relief valve, that is the ability to change the maximum system pressure that's going to create or change the lift capacity of the dump box. Now, the reason why we don't mess with the relief valve is that when we do, we increase the pressure in the line, and that's fine, but pressure times flow out of the motor is how we determine horsepower. And we can demand more horsepower than the pump shaft can handle, and will break the motor. And so if you're running a power pack and you've messed around with your relief valve and you hear it whine like it normally would, like it's loaded, and then all of a sudden it just starts spinning, the drive shaft between the motor and the pump has broken, and it's because you asked more of it than you could. And that is strictly a pressure setting to this line. So that's a reason mechanically why we don't turn up the relief valve. Electrically, why we don't turn up the relief valve is if we demand more horsepower, we send the same flow at a higher pressure, we demand more horsepower. That horsepower comes from the volts that's being sent into the motor multiplied by the amps being able to go through the motor. So if we increase pressure setting, we will increase the amperage that goes through the motor. We will burn the motor out faster, or we can melt down the wiring depending on whoever upfit the body, how big they made these wires. We often see, especially on trailer kits, people go to Princess Auto and they buy an amplifier wiring kit, and we can see the mega fuse they put in there. And often what happens is those wiring kits are melted down, and that's why we get involved. And so you can see we have larger, heavier duty cables here, and there are amp foot charts, which says that how many amps do I want to move, how many feet do I want to have the cable move, and it'll help you understand the wire size, the wire gauge size, because you can't just choose any wire to run this motor. This motor will draw 200 amps. And so you need to make sure you have a cable that will allow that 200 amps to pass through without creating a voltage drop. And so the longer your cable is, the thicker your cable needs to be. And there is a chart that is going to help you, and I'll throw it up on the screen so that you can see it here.